And we are. All right, thank you so much, Mayor Perkins, for joining me this morning. People are waking up this morning. Some are waking up without electricity. Some are waking up without water. And then looking deeper, there seems to be a bigger problem with water main breaks across the city. I know that your department has and you have been probably inundated with calls.
Yes, no, absolutely. I'm running on very little sleep right now, but thank you for having me on, Dominique. If you're waking up this morning in Shreveport and you have water and you have electricity, you are extremely blessed. Our systems, the grid and our water system has been extremely stressed over the last couple of days. Just last night, I did a call with the hospital systems about 10:30 at night with all hospital systems to let them know and allow them to plan actually, and let them know that their water situations probably will not improve. And that's the same messaging for all of Shreveporters right now. Whatever your water system status is right now, it's likely not to improve for the next 48 hours or so because our water crews can only repair so much in this storm. So we probably will not be able to make much progress until things thaw out here. And it's extremely unfortunate, but that's where we are. I spoke to the governor about midnight last night, and we were requesting the National Guard to come up to bring water trucks, to help us with pumping equipment to fill some of our towers and to help around the city. But even that is just going to be a Band-Aid until things thaw out.
So explain, when the National Guard comes in with the pumping trucks, does that provide water to our residents? Does that help with that?
Yeah. Well, the water trucks is what will be able to provide water to hospitals first. I mean, we got to triage these resources because they're very limited. So we're going to make sure that hospitals have them, and we're going to try to get some out to the residents, depending on how much we actually get in the community. The pumping trucks helps us with putting water into the towers. We can fill our towers. That also helps with PSI around the community. And right now, I guess the good news story is that some residents in West Shreveport will see an improvement throughout today because of some work we're doing with the tower there. But that's almost like the only, silver lining right now as far as water status across the city.
So let's talk about the infrastructure of the pipe system. Is it old, or is it just, it's fine that nothing could have prevented this? It's just the ice. And
yeah. Dominique, it's old. It's old, and it's something that my administration has been talking about since we came into office. We have some of our piping systems are nearly a century old in this city, and we've been trying to, get the public to help us make these upgrades, and we're going to continue to work on that even after this storm, because now we see what happens when our system is extremely stressed. So yeah, it's old, but it's a couple other things that has contributed as well. The rolling blackouts prevented us from actually monitoring the PSI in some parts of the system. And by the time we caught up with that, there were some avoidable breaks that occurred in our water system. And then we had to deal with the storm related breaks as well. So we just haven't been able to keep up due to the unprecedented weather that we have.
so what are you doing today? I imagine you're going to be very busy going from different place to different place.
So today I'll be monitoring our crews that are out there on the roads. Essential workers are still working for the city of Shreveport, even though we've shut down most of our operations. We'll still be doing outreach with the homeless population here as well. What we're seeing is we started last Friday doing outreach before the storm came. And, a lot of homeless population turned us down, turned our help down. But what we're seeing is as we go out throughout the storm, we're getting more and more of them involved. And also what we're seeing is as various organizations in the community, not just we're working with the Salvation Army and Hope Connections, but we're seeing that when some churches or some other people in the community are doing outreach, that they're able to get the homeless some housing. And that's great because, we can only help those that accept our help. We can't force anybody inside. We can't force anybody to take our help. It's not a crime or against the law to be homeless, so we can't put people in jail. So we're seeing as community members hear about the homeless population that they're going out and they're helping right alongside us. And that's kind of helping out in that area as well.
And unfortunately, we did have a death because of the winter weather conditions and hypothermia, and that with one of our homeless friends.
Yeah, we did. And that was so unfortunate. Like I said, we foresaw this storm coming last week. So we got out there and we went to the homeless populations throughout the city where we knew them to be concentrated, downtown, various tent cities around the community. And we offered help. And we've actually had dozens of homeless that we've been able to provide housing, provide warmth But there were a lot in those numbers that did not want to accept our help, and there was just nothing that we could do.
Okay, my alarm there. Okay, so let's talk about the roadways. I'm not sure what the city can do as far as which roadways, the interstate, the side roads, the secondary roads, but salt and sand, do we have the equipment, or will we be getting the equipment in case this happens? Again, we don't get a storm like this every year, though.
Yeah, we rarely ever get a storm like this. Temperatures haven't been this low in almost 40 years. And for the duration of these storms, we haven't seen anything like this in about 91 years here. So this rarely happens. As far as the resources, as far as salt, we do not have any salt because, it rarely happens here. We'd have to justify that expense and storage. And that competes against our other interests like lawnmower equipment and the things that we regularly deal with. So we don't have it. And it's so rare right now across the board. The state only had about 6 million pounds of salt to deploy throughout the state. And they used 2 million pounds in the first day. So even our state assets are extremely limited, and they're using them on the interstate and they're using them on primary state highways. So us in the city, we do not have that type of equipment. So what we're doing is essentially monitoring roads. We put sand out on bridges, but we're monitoring roads for their conditions. And if they become too dangerous, we're blocking them off and letting our citizens know that they're impassable. And the state, even with the sand assets, they're having to do the same thing just because the accumulation of precipitation and ice at this point and how dangerous roads are.
So what alert or advisories do you have for people of Shreveport today?
The same one that I've been echoing since the beginning: do not get on the roads unless it's an emergency. We are working with the sheriff's office, we're working with the Shreveport Fire Department and the National Guard for emergencies. And emergencies right now should qualify as any kind of medical emergency or anybody that needs housing. If you're in a place that has housing and you got water, electricity, or something, you should stay put. These roads are extremely dangerous, and we run the risk of harming ourselves, harming our first responders if we get out on those roads and we push them out there as well. Just yesterday, we had a police officer get a concussion helping somebody out on Clive Fant Parkway. And again, we're still responding to emergencies. We fought 3 house fires yesterday. So, our first responders are out there breaking their backs, trying to keep this community safe. And as people get out on the roads and they move around, that just ups the danger in our community. And it's really unnecessary right now with all that we have going on.
All right, is that officer okay?
Yes, that officer he's okay. But I mean, a concussion is lingering, is a lingering injury. And, we want to avoid anything that's avoidable at this point. We already have enough going on.
All right, so lastly, you mentioned the National Guard. When will we know the request? You said you were talking to the governor. When will we see them roll in?
I need to get that. I need to check on that status today. I've been fielding calls from hospitals, from our casinos this morning. They're actually going to be shutting down operations. So I'll see if they've already arrived today. I know they had already sent some assets up here yesterday because we requested them for transporting reasons. So I'll check on that status as soon as we get off this call.
All right. Anything else you want to add?
No, I just want to tell our citizens to be safe. I know right now things are very, very tough. Again, a lot of us don't have electricity or we don't have water. If you have either of those things, one of those things, consider yourself blessed. Reach out to your family members. Reach out to some of our seniors, our vulnerable population. Make sure they're okay as well. But this is a hard time for our community, and the way that we're going to get through it the best is by sticking together and lifting each other up. So stay as optimistic as possible, stay safe, and we'll get through it.
Okay, fantastic. Let me